Where to begin? I watched Idiocracy and I thought it was a funny movie. I never thought that Idiocracy wouldn't even come close to describing the state America is in today. I'm flabbergasted. Donald Trump clearly is under the influence, under the control of Putin and Netanyahu. Never will he do anything that will in any way damage any of those two guys. And I think it has to do with Epstein. I do believe they have the true Epstein material. In fact, it might even predate Epstein. There might be other material that these guys have that compromises Donald Trump. And it's not Israel and Russia he's protecting. He's protecting Netanyahu and Putin specifically. Okay? He has pardoned more criminals, actual criminals, than any other president in history. No one has ever pardoned that many people. He pardoned child sex offenders, the Tate brothers. They were accused of child sex offenses. Pardoned. He's pardoned murderers. He's pardoned wire fraud criminals. He's pardoned, I guess it's white collar crime, sure enough. He's pardoned so many people, it's hard to keep track. And why has he done all of these things? Why has he put the military into American cities? Why is he going to put more military into more American cities? Why is he targeting black neighborhoods of all places? Why is he doing any of this? Or brown neighborhoods, I don't want to be exclusive. Because he is looking to sow discord, and he's doing a fantastic job. MAGA, wake up! Make America great again is an awesome sentiment. And I grew up with America being great. I grew up in West Germany. I looked up at America and I thought, oh my God, what an amazing place. I really did. I grew up with American television, TV, like movies, TV shows, all kinds of things, right? American culture was rampant in West Germany. I've always loved America. I've been to America many, many times. Been to East Coast, West Coast, in the middle, everywhere. I've been for work and privately. A big chunk of my wife's family lives in America. And when I mean a big chunk, I mean scores of people. So I have a personal connection to America, other than the fact that whatever happens in America is actually critically important to the rest of the world. That's a fact. You can twist it any which way you want. Whatever happens in America has global repercussions. So why is it that so many Americans are letting this all happen? I find it astounding. I mean, the rule of law has to mean something, right? I mean, the separation of powers is what made America great. No one person can rule you. That was the whole idea when it was first, thought up as an idea, as an experiment. We don't want kings, they said in America. We want a government by the people, for the people, of the people. That was the idea. It was a fantastic idea. I love it. Great experiment, right? But it's just going critically wrong, and so fast. So he's freed all these criminals. He's going after people that have wronged him in some way. So it's definitely revenge. And I'm a student of history. I've studied politics, political science at uni. I've studied psych at uni. I've studied a whole bunch of stuff at uni. None of which is actually useful in my life, in my working life. It's useful here, which is great, but not in my working life. That's the curse of a university degree. But it has given me good insight, and I had some great lecturers in my time. I really have. Yanis Varoufakis was one of my economics lecturers, believe it or not. Keith Sutter was one of my political science lecturers, and I could go on and on, of course. And I had some really awesome lecturers and influences, and I've been lucky to meet a lot of researchers on the Shiny Side Out, the radio show that Dave and I have. Jim Mars, Lloyd Pye, Laura Eisenhower. I mean, it's Dave Paulides. It was fantastic to be able to interview those people. So I have a fairly good, broad-based understanding of the world, and I'm really astounded that it just we let it happen. We're letting genocide happen. We let genocide happen in Rwanda. right? And the excuse there, I think, was, oh, these are all Africans, so nobody really cared. And this is still true to this day. There's a huge difference between who is dying. Is it a white person, or is it a person of color? If it's a person of color and there's nothing else in the news, yeah, we might bring it. Okay. But if there are white people dying, that's so much worse. That's so much worse. Let's just focus on that. It's incredible. And we know now what the value of life is as well. You know, a couple of American lives are worth 60,000 Gazan lives and about 1,200 Israeli lives. That's about the equation that you get as far as outrage is concerned. And the real number is probably not 60,000. It's probably, in the hundreds of thousands by now. There's no accurate count possible. It's a rubble field all of Gaza. But Donald Trump is not intervening in a meaningful way. He's helping him. In fact, he's empathizing with Benjamin Netanyahu. Same with Bolsonaro. He's punishing Brazil for prosecuting his buddy, who's very much the same guy as Donald Trump. Bolsonaro, Netanyahu, they're all the same. You can even say, Putin is the same, except Putin is probably the most successful of all of them. Right? He has managed to install himself into a power structure that is completely unassailable. And now, having Donald Trump in his back pocket, he is utterly unassailable. There will never be anything that the United States will do while Donald Trump is president that it will any way negatively affect Vladimir Putin. Not going to happen. The rest of Europe, of course, feels differently, and they will do what they can to support Zelensky and the Ukraine, but we'll see what comes of it as we go forward. But why is Donald Trump pardoning so many actual, real criminals? I mean, these are people that have, like I said, pedophiles and murderers, right? I mean, white-collar crime people. I can see how he empathizes. He was accused and convicted of fraud. He ran companies in the ground, even though he himself never personally declared bankruptcy. His company certainly did. And he's the only person that I know in the history of the world who has bankrupted a casino. I don't know how that's possible. I really don't. If the mob, if gangsters go into the casino business, there's money to be made. Okay? Criminals are fundamentally lazy. Not stupid, but lazy, right? They don't like regular hours, none of that. So, casino comes along, licensed to print money. Awesome. You can't fail. It's a business you literally can't fail at. It's not possible. The house always wins. The games are not in your favor. Even when they're not rigged, they're not in your favor. The odds, the statistics, they're not in your favor. The only games where you have a chance, like a fair chance, are poker and blackjack. These are the only games where you can control the outcome. Craps, roulette, no chance. No chance. It's complete random. And if you think you got a system, trust me, you don't. Anyway, he did that. He managed to do that. I don't understand how you can sit idly by and watch your country down the gurgler. It's circling. It's circling. It's going down the gurgler. You're watching it as we speak. You've already destroyed relationships. You've destroyed your position globally as the primary cultural and I guess moral guiding force for the world. Yeah, you had a lot of soft diplomatic power, a lot in the States. US aid, other initiatives as well. I mean, you might love the UN, hate the UN, it doesn't matter, but America was a power to be reckoned with, and a lot of people looked to America for help, which of course meant that America could control those countries or have more control than otherwise possible. China has stepped into the breach. Not just China, other countries are trying as well. India more or less successfully. But you can see it. There's this less and less engagement with the US. The dollar is in trouble. The dollar's in trouble. If the dollar is ever dropped as the global currency, the global exchange currency, that's the end of the US economy. Okay? To be very clear. As soon as, Japan and China start selling off their bonds, that's it. The value of the dollar is going to, drop through the cellar, really. It is no longer bound to oil, the dollar. Nixon back in the 70s made a deal, that all oil could only be traded with the dollar. That agreement is now dead. It's finished. Finished a while ago, a couple of months. After 50 years, now you can trade oil in any currency you want. And Russia, of course, is selling oil to Turkey, to India, to other countries as well. Pakistan, I'm sure. But only India is getting punished for it, which I think is hilarious. So, and then he tells lies, blatant lies. I mean, people made fun of Biden, right? And fair enough too. He was not fit to be president in any book. But Donald Trump is showing the same cognitive decay and the same cognitive issues that Biden was exhibiting toward the end, where he's just making up stories. He's just telling stories that are factually untrue and easily checked too. He just talks and makes it up as he goes along. Maybe he can't remember what really happened. Maybe he likes his made-up world better. I don't know. Are the Democrats any better in the States? No. Any system that we have today that doesn't have more than 2 parties or 3 parties is bad. It should be exited. Thank you very much. Goodbye. I agree with Cuomo on News Nation. The system has to go. The parties have to go. They're no longer. None of our political systems. Sorry, let me correct it. Very few of our political systems still reflect the global reality, or even local reality. In Australia, Labour, Liberal. Yeah, then you get the Greens, you get the Nationals. Does this really reflect the Australian population and their views? The answer is no. All right, that's why there was such a huge surge of independence. Now the parties knew that. What did they do? They changed the game, so it's a lot harder for independents to get into parliament. Thank you very much. Right? So you have no choice when you vote. But people vote independent because the parties no longer stand for what they believe or what they need or what their concerns are. They just don't. Right? It's the same everywhere else. Do you think Democrats and Republicans are speaking for the vast majority of Americans? Not a chance. Trump was elected on economic issues. Making prices come down and making life affordable. He was elected on getting criminals out of the country. Okay. He was elected on cleaning up the Washington swamp. It's never been swampier. There has never been a president in the United States that I'm aware of, either in the past or living memory, that was as corrupt as Donald Trump and as openly corrupt as Donald Trump, enriching himself beyond belief and pretty much selling pardons to whomever wants to buy them. $1 million, $2 million, whatever your donation might be. Bitcoin, the biggest scam. Anybody can buy it. And, it goes into his coffers completely legally. It's hilarious what you've allowed to happen. Now, were the Clintons corrupt? 100%. Other presidents, for sure. Did Obama start a lot of wars and kill a lot of people? Yes, he did. I'm not trying to defend any one person or any one party or any one belief. That's not my purpose. I want to point out to you all that it's time for a change. There has to be something different, something better. Our systems no longer work. The UN as well doesn't reflect reality anymore. Right? India should have a seat. Brazil should have a seat, a permanent seat. And where's the Sudan, in fact, right? If you go by population. Where's the South American nation? Where's the African nation that has a permanent seat in the Security Council? Doesn't exist. China's in there. Right? Russia? France? France? Why France? It's reflecting a world that no longer exists. You have to change it. The system has to change. Right? And the problem here is this. If you keep beating a dead horse, right, and you try to change that horse, right, by beating it, chances are you're going to fail. That horse is dead. It's not getting up. It's not going to work any harder. Makes no sense to beat the horse any further. We have to look at the horse, say thank you to the horse, and bury the horse. Or, if you're German, turn into goulash. There was a horse butcher near where I lived in Cologne back in the day. Makes great goulash, horse meat. Horrible thought, isn't it? People eat all kinds of things. that horse is gone. You need a new horse. We need a new system. We also need to overhaul our economic system. It no longer works. I know I'm packing a lot into this here, but it really bothers me. Our economic system, which isn't that old, I keep harping on about it, is dead. It had been dying for a long time, but it died in 2008, completely dead in like the horse, you know. And now it's on life support. If you watched, Game of Thrones, then the Mountain, the Hound's brother, when he was brought back to life in his armor, that's our economy, rotting inside a seemingly impenetrable shell, kept alive by God knows what ungodly elixirs and magical tinctures and potions. That's our economy. Why? Because it's driven by profit and greed. People aren't interested in making good things anymore. We're living in a throwaway society, just-in-time economy, right? Or I need to buy a new car every 10 years, every 15 years, every 5 years, whatever. My grandfather had a bicycle he had all his life, right? I hate buying things all the time because they don't last. Nothing lasts. It's built-in obsolescence. We have made it that way, right? So you buy more stuff because in a capitalist greed economy that is entirely profit-driven, the only thing that matters is your consumption. Nothing else. You have to keep consuming more and more and more and more. And it's irrelevant what that consumption entails. Completely irrelevant, right? So we all end up with a whole bunch of stuff we don't need, we don't really want, that doesn't make us happy, it makes us sick probably, and we're moving further away from our life's purpose, whatever that might be. But that's where we are. Not only that, we're living on a planet, and make no mistake, we're still living here, notwithstanding Elon Musk's best efforts to try, to get us to Mars, and that's not a solution either, because living on Mars is going to be harder and more resource consuming than living here on Earth. We have got a perfectly good planet. We do. Let's fix it. Let's do the right thing. And go to Mars, sure, but not as a solution. As a project, spread the human seed across the solar system, the galaxy. I don't care. Do whatever you like. But this planet is what we have right now. It doesn't need any artificial life support systems. We can just breathe air and drink the water and walk around and not die just by exposure. Right? But no one looks at it this way. This is the planet is used up, let's go to a new planet. That's complete nonsense. It's insanity. And what have we created? We've created a billionaire and soon enough trillionaire class that has all the power, all the money, and does nothing. Has no interest in doing anything that makes anything meaningfully better. And we need meaningful change here, right? We've concentrated so much wealth at the top that soon enough our economic system is going to collapse. Never mind resources, anything like that. Forget about it. We are shrinking the middle class through AI, through automation, through robotization, and various other methods, just to get rid of the labor force. It used to be about labor arbitrage. I'm in a country where I have to pay a lot to my workers. I don't like that. I'll go to India or Bangladesh and I'll pay them a lot less. Don't have to worry about labor laws. Wonderful. I can make a killing. I make a huge profit. Massive. Right? But no. That's too much still. So what do? I replace people in India and Bangladesh with software. That's easy. An algorithm, right? It costs nothing. I build it once. Thank you very much. And off it goes. Right? AI, yeah, sure. But you see, AI still consumes a lot of resources, but nobody sees it. And I don't really have to pay it anything. I don't have to worry about sick days. It just does things and sort of cost that's in the background, like it's infrastructure cost. It's fine. I can bear it. I don't have to worry about people. The less people, the happier I am. Of course, the problem is here that the less people work, the less people have money to spend. So why make all of these things when there's nobody left to buy it? It makes absolutely no sense. Our economy will collapse, right? If I lay off thousands and millions of workers and, tens of millions of workers, those people are no longer actively participating in the economy the way they used to do before. They will only get essentials. So who am I making all this stuff for, right? Well, good question. I have no idea. Who can afford a $2,000 iPhone when they're out of work for each member of the family? Maybe you got four or five people in your family. They all want an iPhone. That's $10,000. $10,000, which you no longer have. because you have got a job, because your job is not done by a machine or a software program or whatever, right? It's complete insanity. The labor structure, the labor pyramid is going to collapse, right? If we keep moving on with this AI stuff and then getting rid of more and more people. It's inevitable. Yes, there will be other jobs, but there will be a lot less jobs. How did we solve this problem in the past? War. War gets rid of the surplus labor wonderfully. Before war became a necessity, we had disease. Disease got rid of a lot of people young, which is great, right? And maybe that's why we are moving away from the vaccines. Who knows? But disease gets rid of people, right? Millions of people in the olden days, smallpox and all kinds of things. I mean, our population is huge now, massive, right? Never been this big, right? And everybody wants to participate in the economy, so what they want to do is kill people off through diseases, kill people off through war. War also destroys property, so you have to rebuild it. Look at Iraq. It was bombed into the ground, and then there was a rebuild. It was tens and hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars were spent rebuilding it. And people made a killing. Halliburton, what a shock. Cheney's old company, right? That doesn't surprise anyone. Nobody is beyond corruption. That's my point here. I'm not hating on Donald Trump, but he's the most obvious example. And maybe that's what we need at this time. We need a guy like him to just hold the mirror up and say, hey, this is what it really looks like, guys. This is really what we look like. Here we are. Donald Trump is a manifestation of our civilization. He is the ultimate consequence of the way we live. Right? He started his presidential campaign back in the 90s, and in anger when he went on The Apprentice. He wanted a public profile. He larger than life figure. And he got that. And again, none of the promises he made he has kept. Not one. Not one. Except pardoning the Gen 6 writers. Right? So I'm not hating on the guy, because like I said, he is what I guess we are. Our civilization. He is the perfect embodiment of what our civilization actually is. Only concerned with profit, only concerned with deal making. But what is our purpose? We came together as a society, as people, as tribes, as cities, city-states, nations, to make life better for each other, right? I mean, we fought hard for the rights that we have, right? Started with the Magna Carta, and again, the initial experiments that we know about with democracy back in Athens, but Athens didn't have democracy. The only people that could vote in Athens were men over 30 that owned land and had been to war. Right? No women, no one under 30, no one that hadn't fought, no slaves, and they had slaves, no foreigners, right? So it was a very limited form of democracy. The closest we have, I think, to proper democracy, I think, is Switzerland, where everything, or most things, are taken to plebiscite. And we have the technology today to do it. We could take everything to the people. Every single decision could be taken to the people. Okay, and we could enforce it too. You have to vote. You can tie it to social credit or whatever. Right? Your duty as a citizen is to vote. Okay, and your vote will be counted. There's no anonymous vote. Everybody will know how you voted. Right? You can't hide, behind anything. It's all open, in the open. Everything is in the open. Okay, the tech is there, but you lose control if you do that. And the billionaire class, of which there's only about 2,500 globally, 2,500 people that we know about. There's a parasitic class that is completely hidden from view. I'm not going to talk about those guys now. That'll take too long and will go too far, and it's way too scary. But we have to understand that the way we live is no longer viable. It is not. I don't know how long we have. I really don't. If you leave out natural catastrophes, earthquakes, whatever, if you leave that out, and pandemics and all that, if you leave all of that out, how long would it take for our society to collapse and eat itself? I don't know. But we are not very far away from that point. Millions of people are starving to death every year. Millions. Hundreds of millions don't have access to clean drinking water. Hundreds of millions. Okay? And a few of us in Australia and in Europe, other parts of the world, America, we're living in a fantasy world of consumption, where our biggest problem is obesity. we have an obesity issue, right? And then, funnily enough, this little anecdote here, right? So the Americans, specifically, this is again America. I know I'm not hating on you guys. It's just it happened to happen in your country. So the American health system was faced with two problems: an aging population and a obese population, none of which are good. So there'd be less people to pay into anything, for less taxes, etc. So it's a really bad situation to be in. As a government, you don't collect enough taxes if the population is aging, and it gets fat, which means you also need more healthcare. So the elder people need healthcare, and the fat people need healthcare. So it's sort of all combines into one big mess. So they go, okay, we've got a problem then. So we have to get people off this obesity track, right? And so what do? Okay, we'll take sugar. We'll take sugar out of the equation. Okay, good idea. Let's do that. So they, invented these artificial sweeteners, aspartame and phenylalanine and all that stuff. And they go, oh, there's a problem here. What's the problem? This stuff is carcinogenic. Okay, tell you what, we'll put it into everything anyway, and people will drink it. And it's a cumulative thing, so they're not going to die immediately. They're going to die in 10, 20, 30 years out of, years time of cancer. So it's a future problem. But this obesity stuff, that's a problem that we have right now. And if we can get, if we can reduce the obese people, then it'll be cheaper in the long run for the economy, for the healthcare sector, etc., etc. So let's put it in there. So they've chosen the artificial sweeteners, which do cause cancer. They're carcinogenic, right? Not my theory. Look it up yourself. But again, it's cumulative, not tomorrow. And they decided that was the solution instead of having sugar and having really fat people. So there was an immediate problem solved. We have a problem in the future. That's okay. We'll deal with that when that happens in 20, 30 years time. And that's how we do everything in the West. We don't deal with the issue. Wherever you see an overpass or a tunnel under a street, I bet you $1,000 someone died. Someone was run over or something. Because that's exactly what happens here in Australia. Wherever you see an overpass, there's a story behind that. Someone was run over. And only after that death, or multiple deaths for that matter, will the government step in and actually do something. Build a bridge, dig a tunnel, whatever it takes. Maybe put in a traffic light, anything. But not before. Not before. We're not that society anymore. We don't look forward. We don't try to solve problems before they happen. It's too expensive anyway, right? It's too expensive. It's the future Mecci's problem. Don't worry about it. So why am I having this rant? Because I'm sick and tired of people just throwing their arms up and saying, I don't know what to do. I can tell you exactly what to do. You have to get rid of the billionaires. All of them. As soon as you make $100 million, you get a certificate that says, congratulations, you have won capitalism. 100 million, that's fair. That's a lot of money, right? It's not much you can't get, cannot get with 100 million. There's enough for your children. It's generational wealth, okay? You don't need billions and billions. You have to redistribute that wealth. If we took the wealth from those billionaires and trillionaires and distributed it evenly, there would be no poverty. There would be much less crime because people wouldn't need to commit crimes. Well, there's still be crime, sure there will be still, because it's just human nature, but there will be a lot less. Okay? Diseases, a lot less diseases. Education for all, a better future. There'll be a lot less terrorism because you give everybody a future. And this is really one of the fundamental reasons for terrorism, is you've taken away the future of the children that are living in these areas where terrorists are bred. If you take someone's future away, what's the difference? What's the difference? Might as well do these things. I have no future. My kids have no future. Right? The best I can do is fight for that future. Any which way I can. Right? And again, terrorist and freedom fighter is a matter of perspective. Right? This is where we are. So you have to get rid of the billionaires. You have to get rid of the capitalist system. It doesn't work. There's no trickle down anything. It has never worked. It has never trickled. Ever. There is no trickle. Okay? The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And we're seeing this. Ever since COVID, the chasm has become an abyss. It will never be bridged. The billionaires have gotten richer since COVID. Massively so. How? How? Because they're best placed. Donald Trump, inside trading, forget inside trading. There's not inside trading what Donald Trump did when he, put all these tariffs in and out, and his friends made hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars. Because he told them, this is not a good time to buy because I do this and that. And they did. Charles Schwab was in his office and he bragged, how much did you make? He's my friend. 200 million? Oh, great. Good for you. Ha, ha, ha. Did you make 200 million? Did you have the money to invest in the market? When Donald Trump played his tariff ping pong? No, you didn't? Oh, well, me neither. How about that? I can't believe that MAGA believes, the movement, a corrupt billionaire would be the answer to their prayers. I don't understand why you would think that. Okay. But where do we start? I don't know. But I know it will collapse. All the signs are there. The veneer is crumbling. And there is no way out of this. We can never get better on the path that we are. The debts will never go away. We will not all of a sudden have all of these amazing resources available to us that weren't there before. None of this is going to happen. And now I'm going to go a little crazy here, and I'm going to talk about a concept of a post-scarcity society like Star Trek. Post-scarcity means everything is available in abundance. Free energy, free everything. Imagine, I've talked about this many times. But the technology exists. It exists. Look at free energy researchers and see how many were killed or disappeared or had their research stolen. Really, do it. Do Google search now. You'll find 20 in the first 10 seconds. Minimum. Never mind the ones we never hear about. The most famous one, of course, is Nikola Tesla. Is a huge one. And most of his stuff was lost or stolen, maybe by the CIA, I don't know. But the technology exists. How do I know it exists? How do I know for a fact it exists? Because I see the evidence in the sky. UFOs, UAPs, the way they move. No propulsion systems, no heat signatures. No propulsion or jet heat signatures, right? Maneuverability, clearly something that somehow has, gravitational control. It's plain to see for anyone. This is what we should be talking about. Look at the stuff that's happening on Skinwalker Ranch and other places like that. It's mind-boggling. It makes no sense. Our scientific method is no longer applicable. We have to get a new scientific method because the phenomena are beyond our comprehension. We don't understand what's going on because for hundreds of years they've kept us in the dark. I will tell you here right now that we are 400 years behind minimum of what is achievable, what's possible. There are people out in the world, this world, that are at least 400 years ahead of us. 400 years ago, the Spanish Armada was destroyed by a storm and it gave rise to the British Empire. That was 400 years ago. No penicillin. No, no high-yield agriculture. No internal combustion engine. No steam engine. Okay? Horsepower. Everything was horsepower. Everything was people. People died of the measles, for crying out loud, right? People lived in squalor 400 years ago. There's also beauty in the world, don't get me wrong, right? But it was a very, very, very different and very primitive world compared to today. If you took a person from 400 years ago and you plunked them into the middle of New York or Singapore or London or whatever, or Beijing for that matter, their mind would be blown because they couldn't comprehend what it was. They would think they're in some kind of magical land, some kind of fantasy land that where none of it made sense because it's all magic. We're flying, doors are opening by themselves, cars are driving by themselves. Okay, people are flying around. Okay, there's you got fridges in the house, indoor plumbing. There's televisions. You've got magical moving pictures in really, really thin, paper thin almost appliances. You're talking to people. If you wanted to, you could talk to people on the moon, right? But you're talking to people across the world. Completely incomprehensible to people from 400 years ago. It's a magical world. Imagine us now, 400 years into the future. Imagine that for a second. I have difficulty imagining it. I really do. I have no clue what it would look like, but it would be astounding, and we probably wouldn't comprehend it. But I tell you right now, we could be living in a post-scarcity society. No more diseases, fairly long lifespans. Again, you know, if you have an accident, too bad. But if you look after yourself, there's no reason why you can't live for a very long time indeed. Even now, even with our tech today, long time, very long time. Everybody has enough food and water. Everybody's housed. Everybody's comfortable. Everybody gets a first-class education. All of these wonderful things. If we only get rid of the capitalist system. I'm not saying become communist. I know it's tough because it's always people. The problem is people, greedy people, selfish people, psychopathic people. That's always the problem with us, and people, you know, living in fear and uncertainty. These are the control mechanisms: fear and uncertainty. And uncertainty is better than fear. Why? Well, with fear, as I've said before, you have got certain choices. Well, not choices, but there's certain things your body does automatically, right? You can fight, or you can run away, so fight or flight. Or you freeze, that's also a choice, you freeze, right? So 3 choices that you have. With uncertainty, you don't have those choices. Why? Because you don't know what to do, it's uncertain. I mean, do I do this, do I fight, do I run away, do I freeze? I don't know. If the danger is clear, like in a fear scenario, then great. You've got options to act. In uncertainty, you do not. COVID. The COVID pandemic, SARS-CoV-2, you know, the attendant lockdowns, the global lockdowns, created massive amounts of uncertainty. Do I wear a mask? No, you have to wear a mask. No, you can't wear a mask. If you wear a mask, you go to jail. If you don't wear a mask, you go to jail. Get a vaccine. Don't want to get the vaccine. We've never tested the vaccine, but what are the ramifications? I don't know. What is happening here? What's happening there? I don't know. I don't know what to do. But what about my kids? What about food? Oh, I've got to fight for toilet paper in the supermarkets now. Toilet paper! You're fighting over toilet paper! What? Hello! We don't need Donald Trump to show us how insane we are. We can do it ourselves by fighting over toilet paper. Hello! Hello! The water and the canned goods untouched. But toilet paper, they were fisticuffs. Insanity. Okay, look, I had to get it out of my system. I don't know. Something has to give. Something will give. Just be prepared. I guess I'm saying this because I'm preparing myself. I wish you can. I wish you all the best. I wish you can prepare for this because the collapse will come. It is completely inevitable, unless something amazing happens. If we're given access to free energy, someone publishes their invention on the internet, and it'll be a simple thing. I guarantee you, it'll be a really simple thing because I've seen the prototypes that people have invented. They're tiny little things, not really that complex. And I think civilizations before ours actually access that energy, right? In times gone past. And if somebody if you're one of those inventors, forget fame and fortune, forget money. Just put your invention out there for everybody to use. You have the power to change the world. Okay, right? Just publish it and make it really simple for people to emulate and build it for themselves, and you could really turn this place into paradise. Because I know you guys are out there, the inventors. Don't dream of fame and fortune. They'll kill you. Okay? They will unalive you, as they say these days. Alright, I got this off my chest now. I feel a lot better. It's been about 40 minutes. Peace out. I'll chop it up into little shorts, but I'll also post the whole rant on our site. If you come, like it, hopefully you like some of it. Comment if you like. It all helps, and we'd like to just see how many people we can reach this way. So be safe, and don't be like them. Okay, be different.